Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Special Agent Brandon, I was told this morning by my friend of 20 years, Special Agent C.J. Hyman, that you are a good person and a stand-up guy. So I'm going to ask the same questions I was going to ask, but I will ask them in a different tone of voice, given C.J. Hyman vouching for you. And I want to start by asking you this. They had a very successful storefront operation in Greenville, South Carolina, led by Special Agent C.J. Hyman and a prosecutor by the name of Lance Crick. Why not get those guys to come do training? It shouldn't be that tough to run a storefront operation the way that Chairman Goodlatte and Chairman Sensenbrenner and Mr. Scott and others would expect it to be run. So when you have a group that's done it successfully, my advice to you, you don't have to take it, get CJ and Lance to come to Glencoe or wherever and train your folks on how to do it the right way.
Congressman, and again, it's a pleasure meeting you. CJ spoke highly of you, and I think the world of him. But your point, we already incorporated in the storefront manual. That was an obvious thing of why don't we have a mentoring process of people who have been successful, where we've done them all around the country, and teach that. So now that's part of our standard operation procedures. I agree completely with you.
All right, I am by far the worst lawyer on this panel, but I don't think even I indicted someone who had the alibi of being in prison at the time the crime was committed. If I did, I don't recall doing that. How does that happen?
I'm unfamiliar with the example you're stating.
There was a report that one of the folks arrested or indicted was actually in prison at the time the alleged crime was committed, which is a really good alibi.
I got to agree with you. And
all right. Well, if you don't know about it, it's not fair for me to ask you about it.
I do know about the, the things in Milwaukee where people were, there were 4 instances. Again, I wasn't pleased when I heard this, and it is addressed in the storefront manual of proper identification. This goes back to that operation, not having an outside cover team. That was a deficiency. It should have been, because then you would follow the people away, as I know the experience of some of you and as prosecutors, that you do it to identify them without compromising the storefront. So in complete candor, that's how I tracked it down, and they were deficiencies. I will add, not that it minimizes anything, I mean, that the people weren't jailed and, booked and jailed, that when they questioned saying, hey, I'm not that guy, they were taken to the command post, and then when it was confirmed, they were released and driven back to their homes. So I agree with you. There's no justification for that.
Well, my colleagues have done such a good job of asking you about the storefront operations. I want to switch gears in a little bit of time we have left. Mr. Conyers, the ranking member from Michigan, asked again about additional gun legislation, and I had a group of moms come meet with me in Greenville last week, actually incredibly conscientious moms who wanted to meet with me about closing whatever loopholes remain with respect to background checks. And it just strikes me as an old washed-up prosecutor that before we talk about new weapons in your arsenal, it is fair to ask, how are we doing enforcing the ones that we already have? You can't do it this morning, and you may not be able to do it in a month, but at some point, it would help me, and I presume other members of judiciary, to see a list of referrals from local law enforcement. 924E is a perfect example. That's a mandatory minimum 15 years. I mean, that's even for a Department of Justice that doesn't like mandatory minimums. That is a big hit. So how many referrals from locals did we not accept? How many did the AUSA decline prosecution on? We can do it with 924Es. We can do it with 924Cs. I know lying and buying cases don't carry a lot of bang for the buck, but let's fix that part of it. If that's why we're not prosecuting lying and buying cases or current background check failures, let's fix that. Let's make it where it's more attractive to your agents to investigate those cases or more attractive to the prosecutors to prosecute them. But at some point, it would be helpful to us to know whether you're getting the referrals from local law enforcement and not investigating or not adopting the case, or whether you are and working them up and the prosecutors are declining to prosecute it. That would be helpful to me. If we're going to discuss new weapons, I'd really like to know how we're doing with the ones that we currently have. And with that, give my best to the agents in Greenville.
Congress-